Hello everyone, welcome to Cartoon Season. I am Tyler, and this is all about animation, whether it be cartoons, anime, movies. It's a nice little safe space I get to talk about my passion. um, but yeah, did I already say my name is Tyler? It doesn't matter, who cares. Today we're talking about Young Justice, Season 1. This is a show that I started because I love Teen Titans so much, the Teen Titans cartoon, which was actually the first episode of cartoon season I ever did, so go check that out. I'm sure it's great. I'm sure, first episode of a podcast is always the best episode. Everyone knows that. But no, yeah, this is a show because I love Teen Titans so much, and I was like, man, I really wish they made more like Teen Titans type cartoons, I know there's other DC cartoons, but I wish there was obviously I wish there was more Teen Titans or a spiritual successor or something like that. But everything I saw online with people kind of wanting the same thing, other people were like, hey, if you want kind of more if you kind of want more Teen Titans vibe, watch Young Justice. It's very similar, and that's true. I will say that Teen Titans was a little more cartoony, a little more anime inspired, but I think so far it definitely is like, hey, if you want more Teen Titans, but there is no more Teen Titans, watch Young Justice. Definitely fills the void. But yeah, so I'm gonna talk a little bit about Young Justice today. Just season 1, it's all I've seen. I'm excited to watch season 2, but we'll talk about season 2 predictions sometime later, after we talk about the team. I do want to touch on, I think, most of the team members. I don't know if I talk about every team member, but I talk about most of them. Kind of what the team is and what I like about each character and kind of what they bring to the show. And then also I want to talk about how they get caught up in big missions. It seems like, they are Young Justice, right? But it seems like they always get caught up in the actual Justice League type missions. Even though Batman doesn't want them to, they always get caught up in it. And so let us begin, I guess. First thing, like I said, I want to talk about the team a little bit, even though there's a couple members here that aren't Young Justice. I want to talk about the team, because I do like these characters. They're fun. So first and foremost, Robin, right? First and foremost because it's the, sidekick of Batman and, whatever. Robin, right? Batman Jr., basically, he's the young kid, which we do play around with a little bit, where it's like, he's young. He's only 14 or something. But that's the dichotomy there is that he is probably one of the most experienced when it comes to crime fighting. Going next to Batman the whole time, and because he was trained at such a young age. He's very secretive. Again, Batman Jr., doesn't really tell anyone about anything about his life. But he's also a detective, which is funny because he doesn't tell anyone about his life, but he knows everything about everyone else's life. Because he's like, listen, man, I'm Batman, and he's destined to be the leader, which is a nice thing that I think they'll play around with more in future seasons. I don't think I mentioned this at all in my season 2 prediction segment. But, I do think they'll play around with that more, because that's something they talked about a few times during this season, where it's like, he's not the leader because he's not really leadership material right now, but he is destined to be the leader because of his skill set, his experience. Once he gets older, he's going to be the best leader that, the team has ever seen. And that's no disrespect to Aqualad. It's just who Robin is gonna be, and I'm excited to see that. I don't know if we'll see it in the show. I don't know if that's a show thing. But speaking of Aqualad, probably my favorite character of the show. Even though, I know me and Robin, going in, I'd probably tell you that Robin was gonna be my favorite, but Aqualad turned to be my favorite. I really enjoy Robin, or Aqualad. Man, I can't speak. A great habit when doing a podcast is when you can't speak. So Aqualad came from Atlantis, right? That's really cool, which we do see Atlantis a couple times in the show. Really, really cool. Glad we saw that. He's more the natural leader, right? Robin has to grow into being a leader, and once he does, he will be the best leader. But Aqualad just a natural leader, right? I think this has to do with his time in Atlantis. I think it has to do with his mentality and his decision making, especially with the big decision he made in his life that was a turning point with him leaving Atlantis. So he's a really good leader, and he makes tough decisions. I think that's another big thing where we see an episode there. One of the smaller arcs of the show is that there's a mole on their team, and then to figure out who it is, and Aqualad makes a tough decision of not telling them about the mole because he felt like that would be best, and how to handle it and how to weasel the mole out. that's two animal references. So really, really cool. Also his powers are cool. Like he has like guns, sort of. But yeah. Kid Flash is the class clown. We got some comedic relief in there. Always love to see that. And then he's the quote-unquote ladies man, right? He's always trying to hit on all the girls, which again, more of a class clown. We've seen this type before. He is kind of, sort of, he reminds me of Beast Boy from Teen Titans. But he's cool, man. I love him because deep down he does have emotions, which I know is a very high praise for you to just have emotions. But no, like he really does care about the team, like, a lot. He's not just like making dumb jokes left and right. Like he really does care about people, and we do see that, which is fun time. Superboy, right? Superman clone. Love that about him. With him to wrestle with being a clone of Superman, like that's a huge burden. That's a huge cross to bear. Half human and half Kryptonian, that's even worse, because it's like he's not fully Kryptonian, so he doesn't have the full Kryptonian powers, but he's also not fully human, so he kind of feel like anyone on this team has the right to feel like an outcast. But I feel like Superboy is so unique in his outcastness, where it's just like, man, like he doesn't really quite fit in with anyone. He's not quite full anything, and he's not just the sidekick to a famous hero, because like Robin has every right to feel some type of way, where he's like, like everyone always looks at me as like, Batman's sidekick, like I'm just another Batman. And I feel like everyone here used to be a sidekick, so everyone here has that same, sort of mentality, and that was a big thing with like Red Arrow, right? Right, it was Red Arrow. Oh no, Green Arrow. Red Arrow? Green Arrow? Red Arrow. Green Arrow. Which one's the hero? Which one's the sidekick? I think Red Arrow. Green Arrow? I don't know. It doesn't matter. But yeah. Superboy, I think more than anyone, I think even more than just a sidekick, like he's a literal clone. Like he's a clone of Superman. Superman is the most famous, the biggest hero, right? So it's tough, man. It's tough. And he gets angry. That's another thing within him too. Is I think that's like the Kryptonian within him, but also his past. Like again, him bearing all of that. Like he gets mad. It's kind of out of control sometimes. But I do like that they've played with that a little bit, and I think they'll do it a lot more in the coming seasons. Artemis, she's the other Arrow hero. We always need more Arrow heroes, you know what I mean? She's suspected as the spy because of her past. Now that's a really cool thing because she's a family to villains. All of her family basically bad guys. So she hides that a lot from her team, and I love that characterization of her, where she is a bunch of bad guys' offspring, and she's like, nah, I'm not about that. I am gonna be here. I'm gonna set this straight. That's not what I want to do. I'm not in the family business. I'm keeping that separate. And I think there's a lot more stuff that they can play around with her character as well with that. Of like her being the daughter of a villain family. Like that's such a cool thing to pin on someone. And it also adds to her insecurities because she plays into that. She doesn't want to, but she does. Like when it's like she might be the mole, it's like she could be, and she even thinks that of herself. Of like, they have every right to believe it. Like she knows herself. Like you are who you are. Like you're inside your own head. Like that you're not the spy. Like she can confirm that. But like it still gets to her because it's like they have every right to believe that. Because I have secrets. Not only do I have secrets, but my secrets are villainous. And not just figuratively, but literally, so it's like, why, and if they find out, they're just gonna think I'm the spy because there's no reason for them to not think it. It's good, man. It's good character building, The Miss Martian from Mars, inherently. Hello Megan, that was a fun thing. That was a twist for it to be like, oh, she does that because of a show that she watched, and not only that, but she watched the show because she wanted to be more human and more personable. It's so good, you know. And then she has her true Martian form, which was great. That was a great reveal for her to be like, oh, here's my true Martian form, and she just kind of has like weird horns. It's like, oh, okay, that was nothing to be worried about. And then later on, she finally has to reveal her true Martian form, and she never wanted to reveal it because she felt like she'd be an outcast. Oh man, it's so good, you know. And then for everyone to be like, no, we're cool with it. Like, we love you for you. Like, you're our teammate. Like, we're not just gonna be like, weird Martian thing. Like, we all have weird stuff about us. Like, we're all sidekicks. We're all sidekicks to various heroes. We all have our own backstories. Like, yeah, your thing is kind of weird, and don't get me wrong, it's probably a little more weird than any of our stuff, but like, you're still you, you know? Like, we still like you. So that's really cool. And then lastly, Zatanna. Don't really have much for her. She's the magician. I feel like we haven't really seen too much of her, but I did want to bring her up at the very least. Magician powers are always cool. I'm a big fan myself, and I'm a big fan of like spell powers and magic, and you know, like to bring up Teen Titans again, my favorite character from Teen Titans was Raven. Obviously her backstory is really dope, and I feel like she has the best character arc in the entire Teen Titans show. But also her powers are really cool. You know, I just thought her powers were dope too. So, but yeah, that's basically the team. There might be some members in there that I left out, probably because we don't see them too much in the show, and then I think we're gonna see more and more, because I think that's just what the show is. Like, it's a team. We're building a bigger cast of characters, and you know, I'll talk about that in a second. But we get to season 2 predictions. But yeah, I think this team is really cool. It's a bunch of individual characters. You know, they don't really sweep past people. Like, I think everyone kind of gets their spotlights, and I think any one of these characters can be your favorite character in the show, and I think that's really cool. You know, it's something that creators, whenever they make a story with a large cast of characters, you know, I think that's something that they hope, is that every character can be liked, and we're not just like, oh, there's a character and they're just here for the plot and whatever. You know, every character can be a fan favorite. So move on to the other big topic, which is our team always getting caught up in the big missions, you know, the big boy missions, even though Batman doesn't really want them to. He wants them to be Young Justice, not Justice League 2. So, let's go through some of them. Cadmus and the clones, right? Like that wasn't something I ever really expected. I didn't expect to find a bunch of clone things, a bunch of underground stuff, find Superboy. Like, that's not really something that they expected that mission was going to be, but they got it, and it was huge, and it was a big reveal, and it had ramifications, and we're still seeing the ramifications from that even towards the end of the first season. And then also we have Superboy, which is a thing now, you know, which I can't wait to see more of that. Like, I really can't wait to see more of Superman and Superboy interact, you know. Then next we have protecting the helmet from Dr. Fate. Dr. Fate, huge character. Didn't expect to see that as much as we did. And then we have, like, you know, the danger of them becoming like Dr. Fate, and then like, oh man, it's crazy. You know what I mean? Like, you know, something that I think the actual Justice League would have been challenged with, you know. They infiltrate Belle Reve, you know, another thing where it's like, this is Belle Reve, you know, this isn't Arkham. I'm sure Arkham is probably like the tippity top, but this is Belle Reve, you know. And like, we had to infiltrate that and try to impersonate ice people, and like that was a whole thing. And there's some of the biggest, baddest ice people, you know, in the land that are here. And there's like a prison break. We had to find him and get him. And then there was crazy, you know, like, that was huge. They help fight the Injustice League again, like, supposedly the 1-for-1 equal opposite to the actual Justice League. So you would think Justice League would just take care of them, but no, we have Young Justice coming up, support, and they actually like contributed. You know, it wasn't just like, oh, you're here to gain experience. You know how in Pokemon, okay, I'm gonna talk about Pokemon for about 30 seconds. In Pokemon, you have your monsters, right? You have your Pokemonsters. And there's an item called Experience Share, because whenever you fight another Pokemonster and you win, your Pokemonster, your Pokemon gets experience, right? That's how they grow, they level up, get more moves. But there's an Experience Share item where if you hold it, you have your Pokemon hold it, in the newer games, all your Pokemon get experience even if they didn't fight, which is great because it helps you advance, and it takes care of a lot of the grinding. That's one of the worst parts of Pokemon, is the grinding. Very boring, right? So it's not like that. It's not like the Justice League, we're just like, we'll have them come along to gain some experience, whatever. It's like, no, we actually need their help. So that was really cool. The Justice League has fallen, and they must replace them to fight aliens. This turns out to be the mental simulation. So yeah, that was another huge thing too, where it was like, it wasn't like super real, but like they had them simulate like everyone losing and dying, and like how each of them reacted to it. Like that was awful, terrible to put them under something like that. Like that was really one of the moments where you're like, man, this show doesn't pull punches. Like this show will mess you up. Like it'd be like everyone's dying and you have to deal with it, and how do we like, oh man. And then even like Miss Martian fighting out of it, and then like the Justice League actually falling, like, oh man, like they did, like they're still super new to all this, and they're still like, they're not really fully heroes at this point, and then finally the kind of exclamation point on all of this is the Justice League being brainwashed by Starro Biotech, and the Young Justice being the team of people to figure all this out and help them and unbrainwash them, and like, to find the technology to counter it, and to realize that Tornado Man was, like all this stuff, like that was the time out of any of them that Young Justice bailed the Justice League out of the situation. Like if they weren't here, if they weren't a team, if they didn't have the resources, the world would be an evil place. You know what I mean? It would be taken over. So I think all of that kind of goes to show, there's probably more examples, but those are kind of the big ones of like Young Justice not only getting big missions, but helping the Justice League in a way that they've always wanted to. And I think gaining the respect of the Justice League. Like it's like, we're not just your former sidekicks. Like we are heroes, and we deserve respect, and we deserve to be included in the superhero fighting force of Earth. You know what I mean? Like we deserve this. Like we are capable. You don't have to babysit us. So, but yeah, that's really cool. And then finally we move on to, like I said, season 2 predictions. So, no particular order. Here we go. Robin brings up the fact that 6 League members, Batman, Hawkwoman, John Stewart, Martian Manhunter, Superman, and Wonder Woman, were gone for 16 hours. So just to jog all y'all's memory, this is the Justice League were all brainwashed by the Starro Biotech, which I just mentioned a few minutes ago. And, they were basically doing bad things, right? They were powerful people doing bad things because they were under the brainwashingness. We're able to get them out. Everything's good. Everything is good. However, while they were able to see what everyone did during that time, there was a few members, the members I just mentioned, that were unaccounted for 16 whole hours. So at this point, nobody knows exactly what these people did. And the people I just listed off were some top tier. Like, let me tell them to you again. Batman, Hawkwoman, John Stewart, Martian Manhunter, Superman, and Wonder Woman. These are like cream of the crop superheroes. And we don't know what they did, what evil things they did for 16 hours. Like, do you know how capable these beings are? Do you know what they could get done in 60 minutes? Let alone 16 hours? Like, what did they do? What did they form? What planets did they conquer? And that is definitely going to be like the main, like one of the main things that is going to be talked about in season 2. Like them trying to figure out what they did. And then once we figure out what they did, I'm sure we're gonna have a whole new like ball of wax to take care of. Because oh my god, let's just take them all out. Just Superman by himself. Could you imagine what Superman could do with 16 hours? If he was evil? You know what I mean? Like, oh my god, I can't wait. What else we got? We got possibly more romance. Anyone who has listened to these episodes, there's specific ones that probably accentuate it more than others, but you'll know that I'm a big fan of romance when it comes to cartoons and anime. I'm a big fan when it is injected into different cartoons and anime. So we do have a little bit of romance here. We got some couples. So let's see more of that. It's always nice, especially like nice fun teen love. It's always fun when you kind of play around with that. So I want to see more of that. Big fan. I like the random additions to the team. I do like it whenever, just flat out, whenever we get more characters is always fun. Because there's some characters, I was never the biggest DC fan. I'm definitely more Marvel than DC. I think a big proponent to that is X-Men, like growing up with the X-Men, the live action X-Men movies. That was definitely like the main thing for me when it comes to superheroes. And then Batman in general has always been pretty prominent in pop culture. But like, that's really it. Like Batman was really it for me with DC. When it came to Marvel, it was like X-Men, and then like the Ultimate Alliance video games definitely helped a lot. And then the MCU just kind of like, forget about it, But so it's always nice to see more members, because like, oh, I don't know who this person is. What is this person's powers? What do they do? It's always nice to see that. But then on the flip side, just more characters. Like, okay, what's their backstory going to be? What are they going to add to the team? What are they going to add to the dynamic? All that stuff. And then also just randomly, like, hey, episode just started. Here's a new character. She's in the team now, and we're going on a mission. So let's do it. It's like, whoa, we're just no lead up, just a new member. We're gonna learn what their powers are, learn who they are, just through, doing. No explanation needed. So that's always fun too. I want to see more villains, especially the bigger ones. There's a lot of villains, a lot of DC villains that I know that we haven't even seen yet. But then also there's a lot of villains that we have seen that haven't really done a lot. Like even the Injustice League, they didn't really do a whole lot. They weren't really there for a whole lot of time. So I'd like to see even more of them do stuff. I think that'd be really cool. And then finally, Teen Titans follow-up members. Like I said, big fan of Teen Titans, one of my favorite cartoons of all time. Big reason why I even gave the show a shot. Not that I was never going to watch the show, but a big reason why I watched it when I did was because of Teen Titans. So there's a few Teen Titans members that we haven't seen. We haven't seen Starfire. We haven't seen Raven. Big fan of Raven, like I just said. I really hope Raven gets, some sort of character in Young Justice. Cyborg, I feel like, is an easy one to put in there. And Beast Boy. Big fan of Beast Boy. Can't wait till we see them. I imagine we'll see all four of those characters at some point in the show. I think it'd be crazy if we didn't. There's also other characters too, that was a big fan of in Teen Titans, but obviously that is just like the main cast. We've obviously seen Robin, but there's the other 4 Teen Titans members that we haven't seen, and I do think we'll see them. I just see how they play with them, like what this iteration of the character will be, and how different it'll be from the Teen Titans version, and also just how they get incorporated into the team. What their dynamic is, what their backstory is, what their, all that stuff. So, but yeah, that's pretty much it. Like I said, very much enjoyed this show. It gave me pretty much everything I wanted, plus a little more, coming off the Teen Titans Void. Again, Teen Titans ended a while ago, but I'm just saying that, like, me rewatching it somewhat recently to make the episode, like 7 months ago, but I was always kind of looking for, man, I wish there's more Teen Titans, and so Young Justice appears, and it's great, and I hear that it just gets better. I hear that, like, the more the show goes on, the more crazy it gets, so that's exciting. But yeah, let me know what you thought of season 1. Let me know about your season 2 predictions. Let me know what your favorite character is at the time. Like I said, mine is probably Aqualad. And yeah, go to Tiger T on the YouTubes and other podcast platforms to listen to all the other episodes of this. Let me know what other cartoons or anime or movies you want to see me cover. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Until next time, watch more Young Justice, watch more cartoons. Let me know what other stuff you want to see me cover. And I'll be back with an episode faster than Kid Flash.